Free energy, here we come.
Things are getting busy over here.
Have you ever wondered how solar systems are set up?
The sun is outside.
Me either.
Yeah, thank you.
But in this episode, Kirk explains how all of it works.
If the sun doesn't turn on one day up here,
The sun doesn't turn on.
From the sun coming out to the sun not coming out.
and that's
It?
basically the entire thing.
If you ever wanted to live off-grid and wanted your own solar station,
Did you understand that?
Every bit of it.
I knew it.
And Manuel did too.
stay tuned. He's coming in hot.
Free energy, here we come. Alright, today I'm working on the battery storage portion of the solar, and I just got 4 lithium iron phosphate 12 volt batteries, 100 amp hour each. I'm going to connect them in series to make a 48 volt battery bank, 100 amp hours. These 4 batteries cost twice as much as my complete generator.
Things are getting busy over here, and we've both been working a ton. You could hear my voice is like gone. It happens. But I just woke up and Kirk has been working on the solar panels or the solar system, the universe that we're creating of electricity. And he's been garnering all of these materials to build us electricity. So he's gonna do his best to explain it to me in layman's terms. And I'm definitely gonna understand it afterwards, and I'm going to help him build it.
So this is my chicken scratch. Basically, this is the sun right here. These are the solar panels. They're connected in a parallel series array that comes into this combiner box, which then goes into a solar charger called an MPPT, and then it's protected by a circuit breaker for the charge into the batteries. And over here on the battery side, they're connected together. There's 4 12 volts connected together in series to make 48 volts. The positive and negative side are fused with a class T fuse directly off of the negative side of the battery. Then they're independently switched on both sides. And then on the negative side, there's a shunt to tell how much current goes into the battery and out of the battery. And then it comes out into the inverter here. And this DC power is transformed into AC power, which then comes out into a box here with a 50 amp breaker, and then feeds out into a 50 amp 220/125 receptacle, and then you get power off of that. If the sun doesn't turn on one day up here,
If the sun doesn't turn on, if no one turns on the sun, well, I mean, it happened.
we use the generator over here. So we use 240 volts. We feed it into the generator, and the generator back feeds it into the batteries. So we either get power from the sun and the panels, or the generator and the inverter. So now we will show the components.
I totally get it.
Okay, so the sun is outside.
Yeah, thank you. Always, or sometimes like Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
So the sun is shining, and the panels are in the back of my truck right now. But the panels will come with this wire. It's a 10 gauge wire, and these are MC4 connectors. And this connector will plug in positive and negative here. Each string will come in. This can handle 4 strings. Each positive and negative string is fused here with a 15 amp fuse. Then all of that is in a bus bar up here, meaning that it's all added together, all the current is added together. The positive and negative come into this 60 amp breaker right here. This is the protection going into the charger, so it comes out of here, out of this box. And positive and negative go into the MPPT. So what we just showed was this segment here. That's the combiner box.
3 steps from the sun.
So yeah, so here's the solar panels in the back of the truck. That's the combiner box we just showed. The wires are now coming into the MPPT. into the solar side of it, and then the battery side comes out this way. So now we're coming out this side of the MPPT, and we're gonna go into this circuit breaker here. So this is the circuit breaker here.
Oh, the ink cartridge.
Yeah, the ink cartridge. And then that comes out of here, comes into a negative bus bar and a positive bus bar. And on the diagram, bus bars are shown by these little dots where you have multiple wires coming in. So you can see 1, 2, 3 wires coming in. That dot is this piece here. And then it comes from here into the battery, which is sitting here.
Oh, this is this empty space?
Yeah, the battery.
Okay.
From the battery, we go directly into these Class T fuses. So on the positive and the negative side, we go into 2 independent Class T fuses. This being positive, this being negative. Out of there, we have the shut-off switch. And on this side, there will be the same black shut-off switch that is coming today. So both positive and negative sides are independently fused and independently isolated. And then from here, we go out to the bus bar. And from here, we go into the shunt. This is the thing, the electronics that tell you how much current is going into the battery and how much current is being pulled from the battery. And from the shunt, we go into the bus bar. And then off of the bus bar is where we take positive and negative into the inverter, which I don't have in here because it's 100 pounds and it's heavy. So we're looking at the inverter right here. That's the positive and negative from these bus bars will go into the positive and negative of the inverter. And the output of the inverter will then go into this box with the circuit breaker and the plug, which is right here. So this is a more traditional AC panel that you'd see at your house. So there's a 2-pole or 240 volt 50 amp, a 30 amp, and a 20 amp, and those correlate to these receptacles down here: 50 amp, 30 amp, 20 amp. And then the last segment is if the sun doesn't turn on, we'll plug the generator. We'll take an extension cord and plug the generator into this box here, which is the same, it's locked shut right now, but it's the same 50 amp fuse, or the same 50 amp receptacle as this. And this wire will go into the inverter here, and it will charge the batteries back this direction. So it either comes from the sun coming this direction, or it will be on cloudy days, the generator will be fired up, go back through the inverter and back into...
Oh, so this battery is the invisible spot on the desk?
Yes.
Oh.
We can go to the garage, I'll show you it.
If you don't follow, just slide into my DMs and I'll explain. If you do follow this, please slide into my DMs and explain.
These are the batteries, or the battery bank. It's 12 volt, 12 volt, 12 volt, 12 volt. And right now they're connected in parallel because I'm top balancing them with my constant current power supply. And what that does is it makes the charge in each one of these the same, so that the battery management system in each one of them is equalized. After I do this, I will disconnect all of this, and instead of connecting them in parallel, I will connect them in series. I'll take a negative jumper to the positive of the next battery, and a negative to the positive, and a negative to the positive, at which point you'll have added 12, 24, 36, 48 volts. So you'll have 48 volts across this battery. From this point here and this point here, they will go with big fat wires to the fuse blocks, and then to the switches, and then basically from this point and this point they'll go to those big huge fuses, and those will be the first points of protection in the system, the Class T fuses. And then from there they'll go to the independent switches. On the negative side they will go to the fuse, and on the positive side they'll then go up to the bus bars. And that's
it?
basically the entire thing that I put together.
Did you understand that?
Every bit of it.
I knew it.
And Manuel did too.
Now you can build your own solar system.
I was going to add to my one that I have up there already.
Save you some money.
Okay, today I'm going to take these out of parallel. I'm going to set them up in series so I have a 48-volt battery bank. And then I am going to hook up this 6,000 watt off-grid inverter. And I have a shunt, and I'm going to do a capacity test on this. And I'm going to temporarily set it up in this box. And then just do the capacity test. I'll take everything out, and I'm going to insulate this and set everything up so all the electronics will basically be mounted inside or on the outside if there's plugins for external stuff. One minor upgrade I'm doing is I'm replacing this screw with a stud so that I don't have to take this in and out of the battery terminal all the time. If I need to take a wire out, I'll just take the nut off, and that will minimize the amount of times that I have to run through the threads and potentially cross thread or anything. I got a couple new toys. I got this cordless bandsaw, 5-inch depth, and new welder and argon bottles. So I'm gonna work on a couple little welding projects. This is what I welded when I tripped the circuit breaker, a little K. It's 3/16 and solid penetration for the most part. Now I'm going to do a little offset I-beam here. Alright, so I got the 2 holes to go through the bed frame, and then the 1 for the turnbuckle, and it's basically an offset I-beam. Gonna weld it up. Alright, I keep tripping the circuit breaker, welding over here. So I'm bringing out the big guns, and I'm gonna use my generator as a dedicated power source for the welder. And so these are the offset I-beams. And then I put a little stiffener right there.
Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
And join us on Patreon.
He's gonna do his best to explain it to me in the most layman's way of possible. The layman's way of. In layman's terms.
And from there, from that point to that point, you'll have 40. That's fine.
Just speak. You can speak a little louder.
That's fine. From that point.
It's okay, Dad. They'll just speak louder. I feel like Kirk needs to hear this, so I'm gonna go over by him. Hi, my name is Kimmy, and everything Kirk ever said was correct.